take you to the glamour and ghostly past of Southern California. Can you guess where?
And we will give you a bird's eye view of one of the great cities of the world.
And we taste some great wines that get some tender loving care from a Vietnam vet medic.
And we figure out why one country has such great golfers.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. I'm on the West Coast.
And I am on the East Coast, but we've been traveling together showing you some glamorous, fun, but affordable places.
In this episode, we're taking you all over the world, and we think you'll figure out this place pretty fast.
Guess what travel destination we're in today?
It's somewhere warm.
You can tell.
Year-round.
Hey, we can also tell you about a hotel that we got a chance to stay in, and this is really cool. It's a hotel with a lot of history and ghosts. And we found out that the ghosts are the ghost of Marilyn Monroe and also
Montgomery Clift.
And the belief is that Marilyn's ghost appears in a certain mirror. Now, I don't believe in ghosts. I mean, do you believe in ghosts?
I don't think so.
Did you see any while you were there?
I don't think I did, but there was a moment on that bridge that, I don't know. What do you think?
Kind of weird.
Yeah, kind of weird.
Yeah.
Not to mention that bar later. We're in a bar.
And so you did see Montgomery Clift.
Well, I saw something come in and go away. Although this bar is very cool. It's
The bar
all
was cool.
Organic farmer market herbs and cuttings that they get fresh that day.
Now, the other thing was that this place has a great hamburger place.
Oh yeah, craft your own burger. So phenomenal. All right, we had top ground sirloin. I think it was grass-fed, delicious. Roasted tomatoes, so not just regular, they were roasted. Burrata cheese, which if you've never had that, you've got to go try it. One of the best, most greatest inventions of cheese ever in the world. Pesto, if you like basil, pesto is the way to go. Jalapeno bacon, that was something that was really very unique and very, very tasty too. Arugula, one of my personal favorite, green leaf, kind of peppery, added a little pepperiness to it. Benedictine cheese, now this is something kind of unique too that they had. That's a combination of sheep, cow, and goat. And then we had these sweet potato fries.
Oh. They were the best sweet potato fries that I think I'd had in a long, long time.
Onion rings that are like fat and juicy, and the breading on those was really, it was so crispy. So you've got the nice crispy breading on the outside exactly how you want it, and then on the inside is this like really delightful melt in your mouth onion that just comes like swimming out of that breading. It's 3 dipping sauces: chipotle, tarragon herb, and garlic parmesan.
It was superb.
What was your favorite sauce?
I think it was a tarragon.
Yeah, I can't remember now which one was my favorite.
Yeah, I remember tarragon was
I think that's when the ghosts appeared. It was right after that.
Yeah. Well,
okay,
and what also appeared were a lot of calories after that, because
that's for sure.
they had these milkshakes there, and these are what they call adult milkshakes.
First one was a Guinness shake. So that was Guinness, house-made chocolate sauce, and vanilla ice cream.
It tasted like a chocolate milkshake.
The next one was cream soda. So that was Maker's
Mark. It tasted
Mark.
like a cream soda.
Maker's Mark, vanilla, and ginger.
But after we had those milkshakes, we both were like, and we
little
shared
bloated.
the milkshakes. Yeah, we felt a little bit bloated, and we ended up afterwards having to travel overseas after we did this, and I put on about 20 pounds. I think that milkshake.
That was at least 10 pounds of it.
We are in
Hollywood. Someplace where everybody wants to go at some point in their life.
And the hotel is the Roosevelt Hotel, which is famous. It's just had some renovations done. In fact, that room where Montgomery Clift stayed has just been fully renovated.
Marilyn Monroe has a room there, so you can actually stay in the Marilyn Monroe room. It's down underneath the Marilyn Monroe Bridge, where the ghost of Marilyn Monroe is purported to see in the mirror. And it overlooks a stunning, classic-style Hollywood pool, which anybody would want to go take a dip in.
And you feel like the the glamour of the 1950s, I would say.
Oh, absolutely.
No doubt about it.
Yeah,
So
you're transported back to the 1950s.
Yeah, and the restaurant is called what is the restaurant called again?
25 degrees.
25
That's where
degrees.
you craft your own burger, 25 degrees, and they have many more amazing ingredients than what we just mentioned to you. That was just all of that we had on our burger. I don't think we could fit any more.
You know, and what's fascinating for a lot of people when you do come to Hollywood, I mean, you think of San Francisco as a great culinary town, and it is. You've lived here a lot longer than I have. I lived here for 5 years when I was doing different TV shows. I never had a bad meal here. There was always not only great restaurants, but there were great creative restaurants.
Yeah.
My theory is because they just infuse a lot of different cultures here. Plus, they have the great wine. What is it that you see as why it's so good here?
I think you're right. There's a lot of different cultures, and those cultures bring with them amazing food and recipes from that culture. So it's very diverse that way. I mean, obviously now there's tons of celebrity chefs that have opened restaurants here. So there's just a mecca of amazing restaurants that you can go to. There's a lot of little neighborhood restaurants that are still around that make great food, and so whenever you can support those in your community, that's always a great thing to do. And then the food truck movement, which is actually it's global now. I mean, it's all over the world. That actually started here in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, and that's really the greatest. Probably, I would say LA is the greatest destination for food trucks and variety of food trucks. You know, there's apps even that just center on those food trucks.
So we are in Hollywood, but we should also explain that we're at the Grove, which is it's not a shopping mall, but it's kind of an entertainment and shopping.
Outdoor
district,
shopping,
which is about
entertainment.
30 minutes outside of Hollywood, based on how open the traffic is. So this discount travel engine that we've been talking about, and the travel club that we're a part of, you can get great
Travel
deals.
like a millionaire for less. So you can have all this kind of fun that we're having for much less. The Roosevelt Hotel where we stayed in Hollywood, for example, where we went to for the burgers and everything, they get great deals there. You can get them on our hotel discount engine. And this is a very special engine that nobody else in the world has. So it's actually some pretty phenomenal deals that people have been getting. I just booked a trip to Dallas and the Marriott there. We got a deal. It was $214 on Expedia, $209 on Marriott. It was $88 on this discount engine. So that's you might not always get that, but you're always going to get something less than what everybody else has out there.
If you're somebody who travels a lot for business and for pleasure, in other words, if you're taking 2 or 3 trips a year, this is worth being a part of. So we'll put the website up there so you can take a look at it. And cheers.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for dealing with us.
Are in Cozumel, Mexico.
You may have noticed, but the majority of Undercover Jetsetter is shot on the iPhone.
So that means you can create your own TV show.
You may want to have great vacation videos.
Well, we've made it easier for you with our book. It's called The TV Studio in Your Hand.
It's a quick read, and you can get it here.
So bring us along for your next vacation video or your new TV show. Found some great deals and some expensive places too. So where are we going next?
So let's jet you around the world to another place, a great city that won't leave you hanging. Hi everyone, John Daly here along with Susan Anzalone, and guess where we are?
We're here in London and we're on the London Eye.
And this is actually pretty safe. I mean, I'm somebody who, I'm not crazy about heights, but I felt very comfortable here. You did too, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's very safe. You can fit a bunch of people in there. I mean, up to 20. We didn't have that many, but it's closed off. You don't shake in the wind. There's nothing anybody would ever have to worry about with this.
Yeah, it's a really secure structure when you actually look at it. Great views, obviously, because you get to see all of London.
And what's very cool is they have a whole other edition that you can add on and upgrade to your ticket. So we had the baseline ticket where we just went in the carrier. up and around, and it didn't go too fast. It was perfect. But you can also have a wine tasting, a champagne tasting. They have a chocolate tasting. And I would go online first and check out what they have and book it ahead of time, because when we got there it was actually very confusing. We weren't sure what we could get, and we couldn't book it for the right time. So what we discovered was, and a tip we want to tell you guys, is that you need to book it ahead of time online. So go research that. It'd be very, very fun to do that.
And we'll put the website up for you right here so you can actually see it. So this was a lot of fun, a great introduction to London. And if you're just getting there, yeah, go and see it. It can be a little crowded though, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And anything that you want to go see in London, check out the times before you go and make sure they're open for that season.
We are in Waikiki Beach in Honolulu.
We are in downtown Las Vegas.
And we are in Seoul, South Korea. Sure, Undercover Jetsetter takes you around the world, but we can save you money.
On Travel with Jetsetter deals. Just great deals for all of you who watch the show.
That's exceeded, friend.
Save bucks on your libations by turning that less expensive spirit into a high-end sipping delight.
With Time and Oak. And you can save money on wine or even make money with direct sellers.
Just follow these links and get jet setting for less.
All right, let's bring you down to earth to another continent where we're going to play a little golf.
Even though golf was started in Scotland, not too far from London, we're not staying here.
We will head to South Korea. Sure, South Korea is known for its booming high tech.
But it's also known for some huge tee shots, if you can make them.
There's good reason South Korea is hosting the President's Cup, as I found out on a recent trip to Asia. So you're in Seoul, South Korea, you're on a business trip, it's the middle of January, it's 20 degrees, and yet you're obsessing about your golf shot. Well, apparently, a lot of South Koreans are too. Hi. Besides being friendly, this booming high-tech city with its skyscrapers and little land for golf courses have plenty of these. You see, South Koreans, young and old, are golf nuts too. This is on a subterranean floor at the Marriott in Seoul, and these ranges are all over Seoul, in basements and on roofs. Yes, Koreans can swing all winter long, even though their climate is similar to New York City. So when in Rome or Seoul, you can join them, and I did. This is why South Korea has so many golf stars, especially on the women's tour. They groove their swings constantly. It seems part of their culture that stresses repetition in pursuit of perfection, and you can too. The range is automated. This high-tech wizardry, second only to Seoul's other decadent pleasure, heated toilet seats that wash you. Talk about a new age ball washer, but I digress. At the Marriott, your range time and club rental can go on your room charge. An hour was less than $10, thanks to the strong dollar. And my Seoul swing session helped me. After a 4-week Asian business trip, I arrived home and played golf and shot rounds in the 70s. Now, if you're heading to Asia or any other golf destination, use our Jetsetter deal site. It's a travel club with guaranteed wholesale prices on destinations you want and when you want it. Yes, I actually played better after I got home, after I left Seoul, playing those driving ranges in January.
And you also have a little crush on those bathroom accommodations in Asia too. So you mentioned that.
Yeah, I did. Hey, I love the creature comforts. Speaking of which, let's get to the bottom of some great wines back in the U.S.
All right, well, here is our wine for today. It's ZD, not ziti like the pasta, as John was inferring. Although I think it does have Italian roots somewhere. But it is ZD Winery. It's in the Carneros region. Again, we love Carneros. And I actually was introduced to this wine at a dinner party that some friends of mine had. It was a New Year's Eve party, and they served an amazing lobster bisque. It was so delicious. And with this, oh my God, it's again a buttery, oaky Chardonnay. You will love it when you try it. I'd never heard of it, and I was blown away.
Well, and I hadn't heard of it until you introduced it to me, and what I love about it is oaky and buttery, but it's balanced.
Yeah, again, balanced, not too over the top, and you know, just as we're talking about it, that's the great thing about wine. Once you start sharing it, you'll catch fire, and you'll start sharing it. Your friends will share wine with you, and that's the beauty of it. It really creates this whole community of love of wine and joy of wine, as we talked about before. You know, it's a beautiful thing to have and enjoy with friends.
And what we're seeing with a lot of the different Chardonnays that we were talking about, even though they do have the oak and the butter, because we enjoy that from California, there's ranges of it. There's subtlety to it, and this is, I think, one of them. I can drink this. I probably like this a little bit more with food than I do just drinking on its own, but I still can drink this on its own.
Yeah, no, you absolutely can. What I enjoy about it is the fact that the bouquet of it is very vanilla oaky, but then when you take a sip of it, the combination of what you're having with the smell and the flavors combines together in a really beautiful experience. It's got a very florally oaky vanilla bouquet, and then as you sip it, you get this like citrus acidic burst, and so the two together are really kind of unique.
This cheese that I just
That's Asiago with the rosemary and olive oil.
Perfect with that.
Yeah, no,
Absolutely
and it goes great
delightful.
with food. This definitely could hold up to a steak easily because of the acidity in
It's
it.
interesting, and we talked about the name, ZD. It's actually named after the two guys who founded this. And lo and behold, they were aerospace engineers back in 1969.
Yeah, go figure. Aerospace engineers develop an amazing wine. I mean, it just goes to show you, you have a passion and a love for wine. You can go do it any time in your life and whoever you are. It's, it makes sense though because it's science, and there is an art and a science to wine, definitely. So they probably had the brains for it. I love that, ZD.
Now, you can actually get this at the store. I would say it's not ubiquitous. You're gonna have to look for it. And it's moderately priced. ZD, not ZD, but ZD.
ZD. Cheers. We're back at the Glenmore, one of our favorite places in Canton, Ohio, and John got a chance to play the challenging golf course.
Yeah, I got a chance to play with some of our colleagues and
Great
friends,
shot,
Dale
Dale.
Bellis, the Executive Director of Liberty HealthShare,
And Dr. Nash Gabriel of the Gabriel Cancer Clinic in Canton.
and Dr. Elena George, an ear, nose, and throat specialist from Atlanta, as well as an author.
We will have a number of stories coming up on healthcare and travel, and also on the Glenmore, including this hole, the 16th.
It is a great hole that we will feature. And we're also going to talk about how tough this Jack Nicklaus layout is. The greens are slick and tricky. They left us all talking to ourselves.
Even though this is a private country club, you can play here if you stay here at the Bertram Inn, and it is worth it.
That's because the Glenmore has some great food. We enjoyed this ribeye cooked to perfection. We chased it with this superb Duckhorn Merlot.
More to come on Undercover Jetsetter from the Glenmore in Canton, Ohio. At Undercover Jetsetter, great new tastes have a starring role while saving you money.
We all love a smooth and flavorful spirit, but sometimes they're way out of our budget.
Try this. It's called Thyme and Oak. They are whiskey elements, or as we like to call them, oak sticks.
Drop one in to that cheap store-bought whiskey or tequila or bourbon, and it now becomes a great sipping spirit.
And here's where you can really save big money. Opt for less expensive wines and spirits at your next party. With Thyme and Oak, your guests will never know the difference. These are wines you might have tasted but didn't know it, because this vineyard supplies a lot of grapes to many of the wineries in Napa Valley.
And as Susan found out, these wines are nursed to perfection.
The J. Ricard's Vineyard and Winery is therapy for the eye and the palate. This Bordeaux-style cab is chewy rich, sustenance for a great cut of steak. And this rosé, for me, is no generic white zin. Both are widely prescribed at the J. Ricard's Winery. So who is behind this modern potion? Who is this J. Ricard's?
I'm Jim Ricard. I am Jim Ricard's.
I'm Jim Ricard's.
To tell the truth, he's J. Ricard's, or Jim Ricard's. Family and staff have fun with Jim's iconic mustache, left over from his days of being a Marine Corps medic in Vietnam. Relaxing with Jim and his wife Eliza, you could think Jim is a typical hippie-turned-billionaire, retiring from Wall Street or high tech, right? Not really.
I'm a registered nurse. I'm an ICU nurse at the local hospital.
That's right, this wine baron is also a practicing nurse who tends to those in critical care. But caring for the land is also in his DNA.
I was born and raised in San Francisco, but always knew that I had the country gene in me. I had that farming thing that I really needed to get out there in the country.
So he bought this vineyard in the mid-70s to raise cows. Old-timers said it wasn't good for growing grapes. Severe drought in the 70s wiped out the grass. So Jim sold the cows and defied the old wives' tales about grapes here with the perfect antidote: technology. Some say they're the best grapes in the region, but the wines were born because allegedly Eliza played the daddy card, or the doctor card, so says Jim.
She said to me, that if you grow the best grapes in the world, how come you don't make wine yourself? And then she put her hands on her hips and said, my father made wine, and he was a doctor. Boom, the gauntlet was thrown.
That's a dose of hyperbole when you realize that Eliza works in the wine industry full-time for, get this, Kendall Jackson. Yes, that Kendall Jackson.
That's what we do with all of our wines. We really want to have them food friendly.
And Jim and Eliza are also neighbor-friendly. Grape farmers and vintners, like all buyers and sellers, can have an adversarial relationship. But Jim and Eliza found the perfect remedy: become one of their customers.
They're never going to tell you the worth of what you sell, And the only way to find out that is to make it yourself. But more than that, I really needed to change the paradigm there. Okay? I wanted to create a scenario where we were colleagues. Our grapes are special, but more than that, the special part of that is that they understand I'm rooting for them.
Cheers again, and then we'll drink. Cheers. And that was absolutely scrumptious wine through and through.
And we'll have more from the J. Ricard's wineries in future shows.
And we'll jet with you to many more undiscovered spots for more travel, wine, food, and of course, golf.
So, stay tuned. Cheers.
Cheers.